This is Josiah Plays Pillars of Eternity. Alright, well, let's move on. We've sorted out our food situation for the time being. So that's what the mock-up cover for Baldur's Gate 3 was going to look like, huh? I mean, I can see the Black Hound there. I don't know who this person was supposed to be.
And what does the flame reveal?
Oh yeah, I gotta remember to rest too before I leave. Also gonna search around for. Oh, actually, I didn't actually ask her everything I can ask her yet.
Good day to you.
I'd like to know more about the Black Hound. Really? Well, let me see. The actual building's been here for years, but the Black Hound's fairly new. We get a lot of new faces in here, too. Fewer than we used to, I'll admit. Tenfrit's the big draw. I'm sure we'll get the big crowds back again in no time. That's the cook. I used to work the tables, actually, until the old owner up and left. Nobody's sure what happened to him. Even left his poor hound behind. That's the name, see? The Black Hound? It's still sitting upstairs, pining after him. Poor old girl. Placing it up in my hands somehow. She laughs. My very own inn. A lot of hard work involved, but it's been worth it so far. Please, sit where you like. Would you like a drink? Or a room? We have 2 available at the moment. I'm afraid we can't offer much by way of a good meal today, she sighs, unless you're fond of cold porridge. Here's what's funny. She said that before, and I used to have a dialogue option about all you have porridge, which I never asked. And if I had asked it, I'll bet she would have been like, yo, our cook's is gone and we don't know where he is. And that probably would have started the quest to find the cook. But since I found the cook first, I never actually got a chance to say that and now I can't say it because it's no longer relevant because now they've got the cook back. So, there you go. I'd like a room, please. Certainly, you're always welcome. Alright, so that's still free. Now this was... What was this, about 200 gold before? Or 200 copper? No, it wasn't 200. Maybe it was 150 or so. I think it was 150, and now I can get it for 113, so that's nice. And this one was like 110, and now it's 83, I think. So that's cool, but right now I'm going to just use the free rest option. Another crazy dream. Okay. How close is anybody gonna level up soon? She's the closest because she's only level 2, but she's still got almost 1,000 XP to go, so that'll take a while. Because, like, when we gain XP for a quest, right, it says 2556, but that 2556 is divided among the 6 people. So that ends up being, you know, not that much XP. Okay.
Time to see and not be seen.
What the hell are those heads? Are those skulder heads? They look like those kind of bat-like ears. Oh, here's Tenfrith. That's my buddy that I rescued. Here's the deal, Tenfrith. I'm really gonna need to steal some stuff from out back here, so could you not make this awkward? Thanks. Thanks.
Look at this.
Oh, I found a hidden object. Yes, I did. This is why we walk around in scouting mode, people. This is why. Let's talk to him. Do not think I will let this go unrewarded. I have decided that you have earned the right to learn one of my closely guarded secrets, my dearest recipe. After this, you will eat nothing else. And we got some more positive rep. A savory pie to keep you hale and hearty. May it serve you well in your travels. So, did I literally just learn a new recipe? Yeah, savory pie. I didn't have that before. A delicious smelling pie with a golden crust and a meat filling guaranteed to leave one feeling battle ready. So you do learn more recipes as you go along. That makes sense. Oh, and this uses grain. Remember I was talking about, oh, I got all this grain. What do you use grain for? I got nothing to use grain. Well, now I do. And beer, which I have a lot of. I just don't have meat. If I had meat, I could make some of these. And what does it do? Endurance, might, and perception for 150. That's not actually that good. Doesn't something else already do that? I guess not quite that, but... Simple but effective, this stew contains a pleasing blend of meat, vegetables, and rice. Yeah, I mean, it only lasts 2.5 minutes. It's okay, but it's not nearly as good as, like, Duke's Own Beef Loof, which is twice the duration and an extra point of might instead of perception, which frankly a little bit of a useless stat. Except for dialogue choices, which is why my perception is 18. Cameron says, is it divided? Never noticed, but that would explain things. Is it divided? Have I already... I don't even know what you're talking about. What was I saying that was divided? See, I forget what I just said like 5 minutes ago because I'm a crazy old man. Is what divided? What? I'm trying to like remember what I possibly could have been talking about when I said divided, and I literally have no idea. Oh, experience. Yes, it is divided. Absolutely. You can see for yourself. Like you can check like right before you turn in a quest, see how much XP you have. Then look at the number here, and you'll plainly see that it is definitely divided. All of it's divided. When you earn like 60 XP for discovering an area, everybody only gets 10. When you earn 10 XP for disarming a low-level trap, everybody gets their little tiny share of 10. Yeah, so it is divided. If it wasn't divided, my characters would already be like level 5 or something. With the amount of XP we've gotten. So now...
What is it? My eyes are...
I'm gonna need you to keep him busy over here.
What is it?
Well, I'm a sneaky sneak girl. No, do not come over here. Okay, let's just quick save and then... No! I'm trying to steal here. Alright, he didn't see me. He didn't see me. Faintly good ally. It's been saying that for a long time, even though I keep gaining reputations. And I just stole... Oh, I think I just sent it straight to my stash. I always do that. Ale. Beer. Come on out. So he is the ale master. But 6 apparently is the stack size for that. Which is kind of dumb, but alright. I think he's gonna lose the Svef and have an ale also. What does the Svef do again? Will and max endurance for 5 minutes. That's actually pretty nice. Who has terrible will? Wow. Who the hell was that? Oh, my rogue. Yeah, her will is weak sauce. We'll give her this in case she needs it for some reason. Or for the second thought, how much is that worth? Ooh, it's kind of worth a lot. I don't think I'll ever use this crap. I think I'm gonna sell it since it's worth 18 copper.
Eh?
Okay, what do we have in here? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh. Okay. She's got one. He's got one. She's got one. He doesn't, but he's a healer. He's got one, and he's got a better heal potions. So somebody can have a second one of these. I think it should probably be Kana, since he gets up in the front and is more likely to need it than anyone else. Yeah, exactly. That explains why you only level up as fast as you do. Now, you would think, this is the thing though, you would think, wow, so if you did it solo with only one character, you'd get all that XP and you level up really fast, but it doesn't work that way. Because actually, the amount of XP you get is based on how many people in your team, and then you divide it. You get a tiny bonus for having fewer than 6 people, but it's not like you're dividing up that same amount among fewer people. You're dividing up a much smaller amount among fewer people. So if you went through solo with no other companions, you would not level up that much faster than you do with 6 people. You might level up 10 or 15% faster is all. Alright, let me add this to the stack of gold rot chew.
Let's see what lies this way.
What do we have here? Spoons hang by the fire, coated in brownish gunk. Alright, that's exciting. We got spoons. This is a glorious adventure. Spoons. I will name a dish in your honor. That's kind of cool. Something exotic and a little dangerous. I'll need more wine. Alright.
Welcome.
Let's sell this. And then does she carry those savory pies now? I wonder. She does. She didn't have these before, did she? I don't know. Maybe she did have these. She did have these before. I'm wrong. That's where I saw them before. Okay. Oh, I could buy... She doesn't have the one I really like, the Duke's Own, but she does have the Pearlwood Chicken, which is pretty good. It's 10 copper each. Who do I have carrying Pearlwood Chicken? I think I have Kana with some Pearlwood Chicken, don't I? No, it's Durance. I'm not going to buy any more right now. Okay, so kitchen and the front room have been
Keeping an eye out.
thoroughly explored at this point. Now there's a lot of people in here. That is a free barrel. Taking it. Here's an Orland server. Hello. Beg pardon, ma'am. Don't have much time for talking. But... But do you? Yeah, apparently he doesn't. Okay, excuse me. Wish we had some minstrels in here. Heard they fended off another attack on Lord Radric's keep. Fucking magistrate, half of us starving and he doesn't lift a finger. Oh, this is Swainer and his gang. I needed to come talk to them. I almost forgot about that. One second. Okay. Sorry about that. Here we go. Talk to Swainer if you've something to say. These are the ones who are mad about the grain prices. This might erupt into a fight, so I should be careful here. I don't think it will, because I'm pretty good at talking people out of stuff. Like, my character concept, when I made this, I knew I was going to play on Path of the Damned, which means I knew it was going to be hard. But for my first playthrough for these kind of games, I like having the most, like, dialogue competent character I can. I like having as many dialogue options as possible. So I made my character ridiculously bad. I have an 18 perception, an 18 resolve, and a 19 intelligence, because those are the most common dialogue option stats by far. Even though that's a shitty build, like having 18s in perception and resolve, there's absolutely no reason. Those don't do me really any good, basically, except for dialogue. I mean, they give me some stuff, but it's not like, I mean, I would have been far better served. And then I put all the rest of my points in might, so I could do good damage. But that means not only do I have shitty health, I'm also really slow. So I kind of gimped my own main character. I figured, well, I'll just make it a little bit harder. I'll have to be more careful with her, and now I can do awesome stuff in dialogue. But you know, but that's why I chose a Cipher too, because I decided, well, if I'm going to have those stats, what class is going to be least screwed up by those stats? And I figured Cipher was the answer. Although I could have made a fighter tank with these, and I just would have had a high con instead of a high might. But I just decided I didn't want to do that. So there we go. That's the story of why my character is built really weirdly. And I'm making it work so far. Gaffwin, huh? If you're not an ale... Oh, that's the woman. If you're not an ale, I don't have business with you. Fucking magistrate, half of us starving and he doesn't lift a finger. What else you got to say? Talk to Swainer if you've something to say. Alright. So should I talk to Swainer? And if I am going to talk to him, should I arrange my people in some sort of correctly wise way? Well, yes, I should. Adair, get over here. And...
Following your lead.
Kana, you get over here behind him. And Durance, you get over here behind him.
Bye.
And
Yeah.
my ranged people, you
Yes.
back the fuck up.
Yes?
Eh?
Alright, now let's talk to him.
Huh?
Greetings.
Don't know who you are and don't much care. Keep walking. When I had a chat with foreigners. Aloth narrows his eyes. Careful. Looks like they're cut from the same cloth as those rowdies who attacked me. He wrinkles his nose. Smells like it too. I saw you outside the mill. What was that about? Well, someone fancies themselves a meddler, eh? What's that about? It's about Trumbull thinking he's king of the town, on account of he's got the mill to his name. Well, I think he's thinking he's the miller, which he is, in all fairness. The dwarf's jowls quiver with rage. It's about him barely giving us anything for the wheat we bring him, and then cutting our purses when we need to buy grain. It's about farmers going hungry while some bastard gets rich off their crops. That's what it's fucking about. Now shove off. I'm not the diplomatic sort. What are you doing in here then? Maybe I could go talk to him. We'll go with this for now. What are you doing in here then? What does it look like? Drinking till I forget how much I want to put a pitchfork through Trumbull's face. Trumbull says you've been threatening his family. Oh, I bet he has. Oh, nobility, that Trumbull. Two big, strong kids. Purest soul in all of Gilded Vale. The dwarf sneers. Cowards sending out messengers to handle his business. Well, you can go and tell him we haven't had a solid meal in days on account of him. And we can't afford a good drink on account of him. But we won't be bullied by some foreigner on account of him. You really just like the phrase on account of him, don't you, Swainer? One sec. Alright, back, sorry. Okay. There's some fun options here. So I can straight up attack, which I'm not going to do. That's not my style. I don't have dexterity. I have the might, so I could like pretty much get all crazy with them, but I'm not going to. Could be diplomatic by trying to buy them around. Again, I don't really want to do that because I don't like these guys. I could say this awesome steely line. So much as raise your voice to that family again, and I'll hang you from the windmill blades for the crows to eat. But you know, that's... You know, I think that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to try to intimidate him with that rather than getting all bajiggity. I don't want to just leave, because if I just left, I would just have to go back and talk to the other guy and try to convince him. And I've decided I am not on their side. I'm on the Miller's side, because these guys are assholes. So, here we go. You so much as raise your voice to that family again, and I'll hang you from the windmill blades for the crows to eat. Hey, hold on there! Swainer raises his hands defensively, eyes big. No need to get nasty. We won't go near the Miller. Blazes, we haven't done a thing to him. Well, that worked. We're just hungry is all. And looks like that isn't changing. You want to side with that rotten bastard, you go right ahead. You and this whole fucking town. Success. $102 experience, wow. Okay. So, against the grain. Report to Trumbull. I have convinced Swainer to stop threatening Trumbull and his family. Trumbull will be relieved to hear of it. Hey, you want to chat some more, buddy? Because it seems like we're good friends now. Come to gloat. They're still saying the same thing. Come to gloat. Yeah, pretty much I have, actually. I'm here to gloat. I'm gloating. Get gloated on. Alright.
Light, flame, and sound. We'll keep to ourselves.
You just come into town. Kids like you seem to do alright. Wish we had some minstrels in here. Well, we do have Kana. He's a chanter. He could chant some shit, but... Then there'd be skeletons getting summoned all up into the tavern, and, you know, things get out of hand quickly at that point. Nice and dry in here. Alright, these townspeople are all saying the same shit. Oh, here's a drunkard. Hey, who are you then? Another fool come to answer Roderick's invitation? Oh, great lord, have my sister run out of my town after the boy was born. She was the only family I had left. Not sure where she is now. Blazes, I need another drink. So in other words, Lord Radrick is an asshole, is what we're getting from basically everyone. I should have left town years ago. I should have left town years ago. I could just see him like... everybody else saying the same things over and over doesn't really make sense. But for the drunk guy, him literally repeating the same phrase over and over actually sort of makes sense. I should have left town years ago. Like, I can just imagine, like, every time you see this guy, he, like, tells you that again. Because he's drunk and he doesn't even remember that he said it. I should have left town years ago. Fucking drunkard. Okay, that's hilarious.
Keep an eye out.
Thought this place was going under after the owner left, but it's held out. Nice and dry in here. So what? Oh, what do we got going on here? Some banners with some, I don't know, on them. Pretty cool looking chairs. And I can take whatever I want off this table. Looks like it. Oh, it's a book. I thought it was just going to be some beer. Well, Kana is the collector of books, so... Although, you see, I have part 2 and 3 of this. This is a part 2 again, so I'm not going to read it yet. I'm going to wait until I find part 1. Then I'll read them both.
Margaren's fire casts light in dark places.
How come whenever I group stealth, it's always Durance that has some weird comment about it? Like, none of the others ever really say anything about stealthing. Oh, here we go. We're gonna have a couple memory people here. Alright. Selena Vertivo. Got some red hair, some leather armor or something, and a little ponytail. What's her deal? She got a dagger. Some kind of rogue. Vibrant history. Let's do this. Reach out for the soul. You see a woman emptying her satchel onto her bed, taking stock of her inventory. Potions, bandages, tinctures, and herbs are scattered throughout her room haphazardly. She bites her lip, head tilted to the side, considering. She begins to repack, one item after the other, careful deliberation undercut by shaking hands. Each item has a clearly marked place, but no matter how she repacks it, she isn't satisfied. The shaking worsens as she empties it out once more, one hand held to her mouth. Tears eke from her eyes as she gives up all semblance of order and shoves everything she can in the satchel, grabbing it and running out of the bare house. Straightening her back, she walks to the docks, chin high, eyes hard and red. A gangly young elf offers his condolences, but she can't see him for the ocean ahead of her. She wanders the docks, offering her services as a doctor to any who will listen, anyone heading out on the high tide. Less than an hour later, she watches her childhood disappear in the distance, a tiny speck of an island, and tries not to jump. Well, that's pretty depressing. She's not having a fun life. Alright, who's this guy? Strom Brightblade. He sounds kind of like a dork. There was a character named Sturm Brightblade who was a knight in the Dragonlance books a long time ago. So you change one letter and you have this guy. Except this guy's in leather with a bow, which is not at all like what Sturm Brightblade would have worn. Okay, let's check him out. We gotta do it. Vibrant history, reaching out for the soul. Let's do this. You see a group of young men standing around a makeshift practice target. This man stands in the middle of them, explaining the construction and use of a bow. He holds it up, pointing out each part as he speaks about it and what it does. He then walks away from the target, telling them to remain where they are, and takes his place about 200 feet away. He carefully lines up his shot, explaining what he is doing as he does, and lets the arrow fly. It hits the target dead center, much to the surprise and delight of the boys near it. He smiles, walking toward the boys, talking about proper stance and how to most effectively hold a bow. A noise comes from the tree line near their practice venue, and he stops, scanning the woods, blue eyes squinting against the sun. A shadow moves, making its way through the forest behind them. He draws an arrow and lines up the shot, carefully tracking the motion of the hidden creature. Loosing the air. Wait a minute. He didn't even know what it was, just something in the woods, and he's just going to shoot it? What an asshole. Just saying. He wastes no time and quickly grabs another. The boys spin, watching the arrow fly into the forest, immediately lost among the trees. There is sudden, explosive movement in the undergrowth as a deer erupts from the tree line, running across the edge of the clearing. The boys laugh, turning to joke with the man about his lousy shot. They stop talking, seeing him holding the bow and leading the deer with a nocked arrow. They drop to the ground as he looses this last arrow, which flies true and strikes the deer right behind its shoulder, piercing heart and lungs and dropping it dead almost immediately. The boys stare at the deer for a few seconds, and then slowly turn to look at the man, newfound respect in their eyes. He smiles again and breathes a quiet sigh of relief. Okay, archery teacher. Seems legit. So, I think I can go upstairs now. Shh. What happens upstairs? Oh, we got some carousers up here. Oh, look, there's a stag head. Man, the last stag I saw was a scary motherfucker. Not gonna lie to you. It beat my ass. Sing us a song, Lissa. For the last time, I don't know any dwarven drinking songs. I'm from Logholm. Ha, you were right. She does get rosy-cheeked when she's angry. That's the whole conversation, huh? Carouser. Grab a drink, friend. Not much else of worth in this town. Says the woman from Thane. Hey, we said we wouldn't mention Thane. Oh, that's it? So no matter which one of them I talk to, this same little conversation. That seems like a strange use of the dialogue window. Roaches scatter and flee under the crates. Roaches. This makes me really want to stay here. Last one standing by is the next round.
I shall be discreet.
And now they're trying to get her to sing a song again. Uh-oh. Deathlock. I wonder if that's the Deathlock. The, like, semi-famous games reviewer. Alright, before we mess with these three, I'm gonna come over here. There's an inn guest over here. Oh, with a name like inn guest, he's gotta be... Ooh, stuff I can lockpick. And it's not considered stealing. Please leave me be. I am full to sickness with what I have seen of this place and its people. I am from Raid Saris, true, but if I followed the scattered god yet, would I not have remained there with my family? Gods, to think I came all this way. He doesn't seem happy. May you meet with better fortune in Gilded Vale than I. Well, you're still alive, so it could be worse. But you're right. This place is shitty and its people are shitty. Well, good luck, Camarand? I assume that means you're taking off. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting. Have fun with the game yourself, sir. Okay. Well, I'm gonna steal some stuff now. Ooh, a book. And I can easily lockpick this. 90 XP. What? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Legitimate loot. Hey, get out of there. See, he says that, but it wasn't marked as stealing. He didn't get hostile, and we didn't lose any reputation. So, it wasn't really stealing, I guess. It was just like, after he saw us take the stuff, he decided he wasn't happy about it, but apparently not as unhappy as a person when you're really stealing from them. Game seems to be a little bit inconsistent with what it does and doesn't consider stealing. It's a little bit strange. I found this book, though, 10 Years of Dawn. Let's read it. 10 years I tilled the Vorless leaf, and 10 years I told myself that living in St. Widewin's footsteps would bring me rebirth. Each dawn I'd pray that if thou art in darkness, he shall bring thee light, and yet each night, what? And yet each night would bring the same emptiness. For my decade of living as a simple dye farmer, all I have to show for it is a great deal of purple clothing. Aothas has not spoken to us since he appeared as St. Widewin. It was my hope that Aothas would claim me as his next vessel, but alas, the Child of Light remains silent. I'm playing another game called Child of Light. Every day I practice the ritual of banishing the shadows of the unfaithful, and every day I work my fields in solitude, without sign of Aothas returning. If thou art in darkness, he shall bring thee light. But how long must I remain lost in this long night of abandonment Apparently 10 years? I don't know. Is this my punishment for keeping my faith a secret? Is Aothas hiding from me until I shout my reverence for all to hear? Surely, he must know that the dear Woodens now hate him and his followers. My countrymen are quick to blame all that was terrible about the Saints' War on those of us still faithful to Aothas. Should they not be angry at the Raid Saris soldiers? Do the dear Woodens not realize that to dismiss the god of rebirth and redemption is to prevent all hope of healing? Yeah, that does seem like kind of a problem with the whole Hollowborn situation. As I pen these words, I know that I must continue to till the dye leaf. I will awake each day with hope. If thou art in darkness, he shall bring me light. Each day I will pray that the dawn stars visit me, just as they visited St. Widwin in his field of Vorlas. Will they come to me as they came to St. Widwin, as a man and two women, luminescent and perfect? I am told they come to presage new times. I am told many things, and I still struggle to find the faith to believe it all. And yet, each morning, the sun rises in the eastern sky, and each morning Aothas illuminates my simple plot of land, casting away the shadows of the unfaithful in his golden gaze. I thank thee, Aothas, for all the springs I've had, and all that will come. I am in darkness. Please bring me light. And that was pretty cool, seeing the perspective of a very devout, like, fanatical Aothas worshiper after the Saints' War. Pretty neat. Now, I don't know if that's supposed to be a book that this guy wrote, or if it's just a book that he's reading because he's also of like mind. Don't know. But I do know that I need to take a drink of water. Alright, what's in here? Did you hear about Arflog?
How may I help?
Don't tell me the old man's sick. Who's Arflog, though? No, he rolled his plow on some big rock out in the middle of his field. Says he can't sleep now. Says he's hearing spirits. That sounds relevant. Everything pour into his cups more like. Huh. Okay. Anyway. Hidden object PLZ. So now that's a big bed. That's the biggest bed we've seen anywhere in this game. Ooh, lockpicking. There's a rapier. There's some padded armor. And there's a duelist's hat. Oh, I forgot about this stuff. Oh, the Deerwood Part 1. Haha. It is officially time to read some stuff. Crammed behind the books is a drawing that shows Aothas and Lord Radric in a compromising permission. Wow. Or compromising position. I can use my imagination on that, and it seems pretty inappropriate. Like, is Aothas fucking Radric or the other way around? I'm assuming it is the former because that makes the most sense given the situation. Okay, so I have those 3 books now. I'm gonna read them. I have a Scroll of Tanglefoot. Doesn't I already have a Scroll of Tanglefoot? I do. Those will stack. Or maybe I should give one of those, actually. I should give one of those to my rogue or my wizard. Probably the wizard. And I have another potion of minor regeneration, which is good. I could give it to... Well, I'll give it to myself. A regular rapier. We don't care about that. Padded armor, I was thinking, how does that look? I'm not going to be slowed by 20%. She could use it, but really doesn't look as cool as this leather on her. And none of them are going to use it. And he's not going to use it because he has his own special thing. So put it away. And a duelist's hat. We've already read the story of hats. So now this is a Valian type of hat. So I could wear this and it would fit like where my character's from, but I don't want to because my character's on the run. She doesn't really want to attract attention to herself as being a Valian, so that's why she's wearing this hood, and she's not gonna wear that kind of hat. Yep. She's also dressed in this deer wooden fur style instead of being dressed in Valian type clothes because she's kind of trying to be incognito. He could wear it and look really silly. Actually, he looks kind of cool with that hat, but it doesn't seem like a very wizardy hat to me. He's already got a crazy helm. How does it look on him? Ha! Kind of ridiculous. I think I will let the wizard wear the duelist's hat. He actually looks kind of cool with his color scheme. Where is he?
How may I help? Indeed.
Yeah. The wizard looks kind of awesome with that hat, actually.
Quickly and quietly.
And then there's this. Rimmergon's Mantle. We've already read about capes and cloaks. So it gives you 5 extra damage reduction against cold damage and mechanic. 20% of freeze damage converted to endurance. Wow. That's nice. That's tanky. Of course, the tank is already wearing this. Makes me wonder, though, if maybe instead of wearing that, he should wear the, I could put it on the priest. Looks nice. Or I could take this off of him and give him that. Now this is more general functionality. I could give it to Kana though. That's probably a smart thing to do. Oh, if this cape does have the symbol of Aethys on it, it would be super funny and ironic to put it on Durance because he's... yeah, I won't do that, but... This back on him. And I could give him the tattered one, which kind of fits his motif. So now he's got that. He has the new freeze resist thing. Wow, that's a lot of freeze resist. He's got the +5 reflex gloves. Why does he have the +5 reflex? Oh, because these guys already both have reflex from other stuff. Alright. Let's see here. Aloth. Okay, so a couple things to do that it's going to involve a bunch of reading, which I don't know if anybody is even watching this, but if they are, they're probably pretty damn sick of all the reading. But, oh, there's the Black Hound. The Black Hound. I can talk to it. These bones are covered in tiny bite marks. Aww. Let me guess, this goes outside. Alright, hold on, Black Hound. Let's have a chat. Oh, it's a hound sound. This hound stares intently at the covered window, head cocked as if waiting to hear a particular sound. It looks up when you approach and whines a low note, tail wagging slightly. I can pet it. Use a good dog here, girl. What if I pet it? No, I'll talk to it first. Sorry, girl. I don't think he's coming back. The dog whines softly again, head tilting. Well, you can come with me. Maybe we'll find him on the way. The dog's ears perk up. It trots over to you and barks happily. Oh, cool. Do I now own the dog? I do. Black Hound. This small dog has a glossy black coat and an affable disposition. She trots along at your heels, gazing up devotedly whenever you come to a stop. Ooh, it's a plot pet. Well, you're leaving me now, tiny obsidian worm, because I'll keep these. I'll keep them on deck, but the Black Hound is clearly
nice and quiet.
Oh, look at him. My little Black Hound.
I'll see what I can find.
Alright, so examine these three people and read those books. So let's start here. That is Sheila Amen. She has a pike. Vibrant history. Reach out for the soul. You see a long empty road cutting through two large crop fields. The air is silent and the land seems too still for early afternoon. This woman walks slowly on the road, leading a horse, curiously looking around. She seems to sense something wrong, but is unable to discern what it is. She stops, sniffing at the air, her nose high. Her brow wrinkles, or crinkles as it were, and she casts about, looking for something. The air is clear, no clouds. She sniffs again, still looking around, confusion clouding her face, mouthing a single word. Fire? She looks out across the fields, her confusion turning to fear. She holds her hand up to block the sun from her eyes and scans the fields again. Not finding what she was looking for, she jumps onto her horse's back, the fear quickly becoming panic. She kicks, sending the horse shooting down the path, which bends around some trees to where the farmhouse should be. She pulls up short, horror now in residence on her face, as she stares at the burned and charred mess that used to be her family's home. Tears well in her eyes as she kicks again, racing to the rubble. Well, that's not cool. So her home was burnt down, sadly. Shane shakes Mullery and looks a little bit less serious. He's got a big old tankard, and his his nickname is Shakes. These are like paintings. All right, what do we know about Shane Shakes Mullery? Vibrant history. Reach out. You see an emaciated boy in chains, black holes for eyes, staring sightlessly at a wall. A man in a dark coat walks in, a scroll and an oddly shaped quill in his hand. The boy glances at him expressionless. A corpse waiting for animation. Oh shit. The man clucks at him, disapproval clear in his tone. The boy stands, limbs hanging. The man takes the quill and begins to write on the boy's chest, copying sharp, angular symbols from the scroll. The child doesn't flinch as the quill digs into his skin, drawing blood as it goes. The wizard finishes with a flourish and barks some arcane command, setting the symbols to glow dully. The boy cries out, knees hitting the stone hard, his chest burning black and red. Finally, the glow disappears, leaving only hard black scars etched into his skin. He slumps sideways, twitching, eyes facing the back of his skull. The wizard grunts, kicking him on the leg on his way out. The boy lies on the floor until dawn, eyes still black like holes, the twitches growing into convulsive shakes. And that's why he's called Shakes. Wow, whatever horrible, evil ritual shit was done to him does not sound good. So no wonder he's drinking. He needs it. And finally we have Deathlock Najatep. Famous games reviewer. Famous-ish. Deathlock. Vibrant history. Reach out. You see a man soar through the air, hitting a nearby wall with a nauseating crunch. He doesn't get up. His attacker, a burly, clean-cut warrior with a carnivorous grin, turns and shoves his fist into the stomach of another assailant, removing another from the impromptu brawl. The bar is a whirlwind of elbows, knees, fists, and feet, with no end in sight, and he is in his element. In the corner, 3 smaller men speak quietly, throwing malicious glances at the larger man in the center. He breaks a chair over a tattooed head, cackling. The trio position themselves in 3 parts of the room, and with a terse nod they charge. Unfortunately for them, the man sees them coming. Something in his eyes burns brightly, and all 3 slump to the ground in an agony that's all in their minds. The burly man bows to a room of the unconscious and incapacitating before sauntering out, off-key whistle trailing behind him. Okay, this guy seems pretty cool. He should be in my party. Alright, now then. I'm going to step outside here. And now I'm on this cool balcony thing.
Quickly and quietly.
Heard they fended off another attack on Lord Roderick Keep. Okay, so obviously I have main quest, companion quests anyway. Travel to the Black Meadow, travel to Onslog's Compass and speak with Mother Ranga. And that's done, Oh, I can go back to Trumbull and tell him about the grain thing. Bella! Hey Steph, how you doing? Welcome to the chat of my stream. My stream which has now been going for, about 19 and a half hours so far. And I am not done yet. Really, I'm not even feeling particularly tired. I could go quite a bit longer, I think. I haven't even had any of my energy drinks. I bought 4 energy drinks in case I needed them, and I haven't even drank any of them yet. So, I may go longer than 24 hours. I may go 28 hours. Who knows? I may go 30. We'll see. But for now, I've gone like 19 and a half. Actually, pretty close to 20 hours, actually. So, you're doing good. That's awesome. I've been having a lot of fun with this game. I'm taking it very, very slow. I have done an absurd amount of reading. Like, you don't even know. Like I said, how long has it? I've been streaming 20 hours. Probably, literally 10 hours of that 20 hours has me been reading stuff. It's ridiculous. In fact, I'm about to read a bunch more stuff. Because I have these 3 books that I picked up. I think I've done everything in this town other than going over and talking to the miller to let him know I did his thing. So, I've talked to everyone, I've explored everywhere. Oh, there is one thing I want to do, though. And that's... I want to come back in here to the tavern. Haha, that's awesome. Where's Og? She loved that. Yeah, she was in here a couple different times earlier when we streaming, and she did listen to a fair amount of my reading, and she was happy about it. This game has a ton of dialogue, and I've been attempting, not always very well, but I've been attempting to voice act like all the characters and give them different accents and stuff, and so sometimes it's been awful, but sometimes I've had a few people that have told me my voice acting was really good, so I don't know. But it's mostly been stupid. I wanted to see if she says anything new now that I have the hound.
Gods keep you.
She doesn't. Okay, yeah, the same stuff she said before. I'm gonna get a room again because I might as well. They're free here. Oh, can I sell some stuff? Oh, you're hosting me. Cool. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's nice. You can get cookies. You can get cookies in this game. Basically makes it worthwhile right there. Okay. So I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to the miller real quick, and then I'm going to read those 3 books. Because I need to read them. And then I will be done with this town. Well, you know, not completely done. I'll have to come back here after I complete those other quests, but I mean done with everything I can do or initiate in this town.
Eyes are peeled.
I don't think I need to sneak anymore because I've already found all the hidden stuff. And where you at, Miller? Where the mill? Where is the mill? There's the mill. Cookies. I know, right? Like, you must gather your party before venturing forth. Yup. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go back in here. And we will have a little chit-chat with this man. I'm a compulsive quicksaver. Alright, Trumbull, I've got good news for you.
Hail and well night.
You're back. Have you had any luck with Swainer? I spoke to Swainer. Trumbull takes a deep breath. And? What did he say? I've convinced him to leave your family in peace. Why, that's... Really? That's great news. I wasn't sure you'd get through to them. They're out of their minds with drink half the time. I owe you a great debt. Here. He pulls a coin purse from his hip and pushes it towards you. Today's earnings to show my appreciation. And you can be sure I'll let everyone know what you've done for me. And I got a little more positive rep with the town. That's cool. Except, I can be really douchey. That's really all you can afford after I named your family. But of course, I am a benevolent sort. I don't need his money. Keep it. You're having a hard enough time. You're a generous soul, friend. And we'll have you to thank for making it through the coming year. Safe travels, and may you find favor with the gods. Oh, and I got some more positive rep. Sweet. And I got some XP for completing the quest. Did anybody level up yet? No. When is Catriel going to level up? She's still pretty far away. Okay. Moderately good. Oh, see, now I'm a hero to Gilded Vale, not just an ally. That's nice. So my rep is getting pretty good in this town. And my quest journal I wanted to look at. So that one's done now. It was just a task. I convinced Swainer to leave the miller and his family be. Swainer and his buddies seemed rather despondent at this turn of events, but the miller was relieved to know his family will be safe. All in a day's work for me. Keep out of trouble. You ain't gotta tell me that. I just saved your shit. Move along. Fucking guards. Thank you. You've given us a chance to turn things around. I'm glad you convinced them. Last thing we need is our grain stores burned down by a drunk. Thank you again. I don't know what we would have done without you.
Of course.
You probably would have died to keep it real here. So it's all right. Just every day when you wake up and you realize you're alive, understand that you owe it to me. I like the looks of this game. I may have to get it. Bella says, yeah, it's basically really, really like the old Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Planescape Torments, except modern day, you know, updated with like more modern graphics and systems and stuff. It's super awesome. And it has involved a lot of reading. I've read all this, and I've read all these quest descriptions and all these little sub things under them, and I've read all these bestiary entries for everything I've killed. They all have like paragraphs of description, and I've read all about all the gods, and I've read about all these locations, and I've read all these lore things, every one of these. They're all short though. And I've read a shit ton of dialogues, like so many dialogues, and books that you find in game, and notes. So right now I'm going to read these 3 books, which are all pretty long. See, I found this one first, part 3, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to read it yet until I find parts 1 and 2. Then I found part 2, and I was like, I'm going to wait till... But now I just found part 1, so now I actually have to read all 3 of these books, which is going to be like several minutes of solid reading, pretty much. And my mage now has a hat with a big feather, so life is pretty good there. I'm gonna get out of the mill, find an appropriate book reading venue, drink a little water. Okay, let's read books. A quick save, just in case something goes amiss while reading books. The Deerwood, Part 1, Early Colonial History. So this is going to pretty much be the history of this whole nation. Oh yeah, 3 of these. Okay, let's do this. No other land has such a wild and bloody recent history. From colony to palatinate to free republic, the Deerwood has undergone a trial by fire to emerge as a powerful force of the Eastern Reach. Deerwood's history actually begins in Eder in 2602 AI. Edere explorers returned from a journey across the ocean with tales of the treasures they'd found. They'd discovered countless ruins scattered through the forest as well as plains to the north of the trees that would be perfect for growing Vorlis. There was a problem, however. The locals were hostile and there was potential for conflict. Oh, it finally tells me how to pronounce this. The Fairkoning of Eder, Fairkoning, first king, knew that this was too good an opportunity to pass up and sent more explorers to scout and map the area. Exploration continued over the next 20 years. Small groups of explorers traveled back and forth between Eder and this new world, with a handful of colonists setting up small camps to establish a base for the explorers to work out of. Conflicts with the locals, who the Adirans learned are called the Glanfathans, were rare, but frequent enough for the Fairkoning to send a small squadron of guards to help protect his citizens. These guards established a central base on a river in the western section of the woods. This settlement would eventually become the city of Deerford, upon which the modern-day village of the same name is presently built. Once the base was established, the first permanent Adiran settlements began north and west of the Bale River. Over the next 3 years, thousands of Adirans made the trek from Eder to this new land. The Glanfathans, who seemed to revere the ruins scattered through the forest, caused a few problems with some of the settlements, especially those founded near the ruins themselves. These were easily taken care of by the colonists with the help of the Imperial Guard. The Adirans, in order to further their foothold in the area, reduced the cost of production, and in an attempt to keep the Glanfathan population under control, started making slaves out of any Glanfathans captured during the uprisings. Uh-oh. This is how shit starts to break down. This resulted in a great increase in tension between the two. You think? They started enslaving them. Yeah, I would say that increases some tension. With the population of the area growing, an official governmental structure was established by the Fairkoning. He appointed several earls to preside over the land and assigned them thanes to help run their territories, and they called the new Grefram the Deerwood. Deerford remained the center for the Imperial Guard, but the settlement in Pearlwood Gulf, New Dunrid, was the true seat of power for the area. Sitting at the edge of the ocean, forest, fertile farmland, and a river that runs from the coast to the White Marsh, settlers flocked to the area, hoping to establish names for themselves. Eder began to spread across the new land. So, as we learned earlier, this whole place is Deerwood. This whole nation is broke off from the Eder Empire. They were colonists and they broke off and they had a rebellion and they formed their own. Like everything, this is so very, very much the history of North America. They came across the ocean from Eder, which was the equivalent of Europe, of England and Spain and stuff. And they came over and they colonized and they did horrible things to the indigenous people. And they defiled their sacred places and enslaved them. And then eventually the colonists said, you know what, screw the empire and their BS. And then they rose up and formed their own nation. This is pretty much this is like the fantasy version of the United States. Got it. Let's read more. The Deerwood Part 2, The Broken Stone War. In 2626 AI, a group of farmers, while clearing farmland for planting, accidentally knocked down one of the ancient Adra menhirs on their land. This innocent act drew the ire of the native population and started what would come to be known as the Broken Stone War. When it was finally over, several thousand colonists have been killed, as well as hundreds of the Glanfathans. Several thousand colonists and only hundreds of them, so the Glanfathans were whooping that ass. Even though the war was technically over, the Glanfathans escalated their attacks on the settlers over the next 2 years, using vicious tactics that left many colonists, several military figures, an earl, and 6 thanes dead. Unable to stop the Glanfathan attacks, the earls elected Earl Edreng Hadreg, oh, we've seen this guy's name come up before, to the position of Gref. Well respected and known to be a master of military tactics, he was tasked with dealing with the Glanfathan threat. Edrang fought with the Glanfathans, led by an Orlan named Reged. for the next 2 years. Neither side can gain the upper hand on the other, resulting in a tense stalemate between the two groups. Because of this stalemate, the hostilities slowly died off, and in 2631, how long? Okay, so that's 5 years later, the Dirwooden people signed a treaty with the Glanfathans. Reged would step down, the Glanfathans would stop their attacks altogether, and the Dirwooden people would leave the ruins alone. This treaty angered the nobility in Eder, as it brought to a halt the supply of artifacts that they were looting from the ruins. Edrang also tried to get the practice of slavery outlawed, but this was not successful. Because of this, the peace between the Dirwood and Ire Glanfath is uneasy and tumultuous. Small patches of rural violence still cropped up, but were easily dealt with as neither side wanted another war. So they've got a tentative, unstable peace here for a bit. And then there's the War of Black Trees and the rise of Admeth Hadred. Oh, Admeth Hadred. He must be the son of that other Hadred. The word Edrang. We keep seeing references to Admeth Hadred all over the place. After the Broken Stone War, the Dirwood would see peace and prosperity for 21 years. Aside from the occasional slave uprising or border dispute, nothing of any note happened until 2652 AI. Some of the Dirwooden earls, tired of being restricted by the treaties and encouraged by imperial sources, defied the decrees and actively sent people to loot the ruins in the Dirwood. Of course they did. And how'd that work out? Response from the Glanfathans was not immediate, but when it came, it was brutal and bloody. There was a slave uprising, and Reged resumed control of his guerrilla fighters. A contingent of Delemgan joined the forces as well, making the fights in the forest. And I think we determined earlier that Delemgan are some sort of dryads or wood nymphs of some sort, with magical powers, making the fight in the forest even more deadly for the Dirwooden soldiers. Edrang, then far too old to lead Dirwood in this war, sent his son, Admeth, okay, there we go, it's his son, to deal with the situation. Admeth, showing the same tactical prowess as his father, set fire to the forest. At the what? At the what now? At the what? Come on now. Come the fuck on with this shit. At the Isheuar River, and then blocks the fortress retreating from the Inferno. Some of the Glanfathans escaped, but thousands would die in the blaze. Reged is captured and sent to holding in New Heomar. This goes on for several months, and Admeth uses this same tactic many times to flush Glanfathans and Delemgan from the battlefield. This entire war lasts less than a year. The Dirwood eventually wins, but at a terrible price. This conflict would come to be known as the War of Black Trees, because he burned like huge amounts of the forest. Tragedy struck the Dirwood in 2654 when Edrang, whose health had been waning, succumbed and passed into the cycle. That's the cycle of reincarnation that they call the wheel in this world. Souls come back in multiple lives until they don't anymore, because they get weaker over time. Reged, who had developed a begrudging respect for his constant adversary over the years they had fought, sent Admeth his sincere condolences from captivity in New Heomar. Admeth assumed his father's place as Gref over the Dirwood. The other earls disliked this development and began publicly rebuking Admeth's decrees. In 2655 AI, Admeth, tired of the problems caused by the recalcitrant earls. That's one of my favorite words. I love recalcitrant. It's fucking recalcitrant earls. But having support of the new Valian dukes and the common folk of Dirwood, having saved them from the Glanfathans, delivers an ultimatum to the Ferkonig of Eder. He demands to be made a Gref Palatine. This move would give him authority and power over all the earls, their holdings, and their titles. Dirwood would become a Palatinate instead of a Grefram. The Ferkoning, who did not want to have a deal, these titles, seriously. Who did not want to... What? Where was I? What did I do? What did I do? The Verkoning, who did not want to have a deal with a rebellion while trying to establish a hold on the Vorlus trade network in Raid Ceres, begrudgingly agreed to Admeth's demands. Admeth would use this new power to bring all the Earls in line. As a trade-off for being given the power, Admeth put money and resources into all of the Deerwood's ports to increase shipping traffic. In turn, this increased the Verkoning's income. Under Admeth's rule, the Deerwood saw 7 productive and profitable years. In 2662 AI, he did what had been tried for many years without success, bringing slavery to an end in the Deerwood. So like his father, he's trying to end slavery, which is cool because slavery sucks. He negotiated the 10 Years Treaties, so called because it had been 10 years since the War of Black Trees. A timeline was established in which the slaves will be released. The owners would be compensated with money or land for each slave released. If they did not comply, the slaves would be taken, and a fine would be levied against the owner. In return, the Glanfathans would open trade with the Deerwood and cede some of their territories to the Deerwooden government, in practice meaning they would stop contesting the presence of those who lived and ruled there. Hundreds of Coopers attempted to rebel against this. Admeth, expecting just such a reaction, reacted accordingly, and the rebellion was quickly crushed. His agents then spread propaganda through the populace, making the Coopers' rebellion and its instigators seem far worse than they truly were. This tactic worked, and there would be no more trouble. And then I think there's a volume 4 after this, which will explain about the rebellion where the Deerwoodens rebelled against Eder and became their own country and stuff. But that is the early history of this land. So now we know why, like, Admeth Hadrid is such a big deal. Like, I found, what was it? Admeth's writ, these flowers are in its association with the final resting place of Admeth Harit. The stories, yeah. And I've seen, like, several other references to him. So now I can put these books in here. And I have this other book that I'm not reading yet because it's it's the story of Admeth Hadrid, and it's part 2. So when I get part 1, I'll read that, but that is not now. Okay. Cool. I am officially done in this town for now. So, need to go. All of these are done. Black Meadow and Anslog's Compass. Which one of those do I want to do first? Well, I guess first things first. Let's get the hell out of town. Yeah, I've heard that before, thanks though. Okay. So I've been to Black Meadow and I've been to Anslog's Compass, but of course I haven't done all the stuff. I think I will go down here because I've already cleared a good portion of the Anslog's Compass map, so I'll go down here. It takes me 10 hours to complete my journey. Okay.
A blade in the dark.
My Black Hound, it doesn't need to sneak. It's just like, I'm a Black Hound, what's up? Okay. This is Zorb camp. I already killed all them. I don't know what you do down here. So there's a sea cave and there's... Oh, Ranga's camp. That's the one I'm looking for. But I just want to quickly come over here and make sure there's nothing new or interesting going on over here. This should all be cleared. That's an empty container. I already got the stuff out of it. I already got the stuff out of there. Clamshells and crab carapaces litter the coals. Okay. Yeah, I already killed all the Zarps that were over here, so there's nothing to see there. But these people I never actually talked to, even though they actually helped me fight. Hey Fire, I see lots of upgrades. Lots of upgrades? What do you mean? I never actually talked to these people, even though I dragged a couple groups of enemies to them and had them help me fight. Two villagers stand by one of the tide pools. They are breathing harshly, clearly winded, and look up nervously as you approach.
Good day, stranger.
If you're here to fish, as we are, stranger, you'll want to avoid the compass proper. The dwarven woman points to the southeast. Her companion shakes his head. A lot of ships wind up spread across the rocks here, so we didn't think much of the wreckage until we heard something. A terrible noise. I thought maybe it was a survivor, but he wasn't alive. Moving, but not truly alive. She shudders. It was awful. She must be talking about the ghouls, because there were some ghouls over there and we killed them. What do you mean? What did you see? Corpses, walking corpses. We don't want any part of it, whatever the cause. Might be we can find something in these tide pools and then we're headed straight home. You said there are a lot of shipwrecks here. The woman nods. All the time. It's a lovely place, but dangerous as anything to sail. Good fishing most days. She wipes her brow. I think we'll look further up the coast next time. Shadow Ape, I fell asleep while you were gathering your party while venturing forth. When was that exactly? I remember you left the chat, like, quite a long time ago. I've kind of lost all track of time at this point since I've been streaming this for so long. But, we'll look further up the coast next time. Okay. What are you two doing out here? Fishing, of course, except I lost my fishing rod when I flung it at the head of one of those monsters. He sighs. We were looking at the tide pools over and thought we'd try our luck down by the rocks. Got the fright of our lives. We'll have to make do with the nets here or go hungry. I guess that's all I can talk to them about. Farewell. Good tidings to you. Wait, do you hear that? Uh-oh. Wait till I hear what? What horrible shit is about to happen to me right now? Nothing apparently. Maybe because I already killed the ghouls over here. Whatever. Maybe they were gonna come rush us, but I've already killed them, so that didn't happen. See, it was about 4 a.m. my time, Eastern, so what, that would have been like 1 a.m. my time, which would have been like 5 hours ago. Okay. So I don't think I can talk to them anymore. Okay, well, that's fine.
Keeping an eye out.
Hey, Jen's back. How you doing? You just missed a shitload of reading. Yeah, I'm hanging in there. I'm doing good. I'm not even really tired yet. At the center of a ring of jagged stone, this boulder casts long shadows across the sand as the sun moves over it. So this is kind of like a natural sundial, apparently. And that must be why this is called Onslog's Compass, because... And this is called the Dial. Interesting. Hay first. There's a lot of haying going on in my chat. That's good. Everybody hay each other. This is a free hay zone. Make hay, not war. How's my voice though? I could not read for that long. Well, I've been drinking a lot of water this whole time, so I'm keeping my throat nice and hydrated as much as possible. So my voice is actually doing pretty good. The only part it started hurting is when I was doing a lot of voice dialogue for this guy, Durance.
What?
Because I was trying to sound kind of like his voice, and that is a painful voice to do.
What? 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 What?
Does something ail you? I had questions I wanted to ask you.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door.
This guy's an asshole. He never wants to answer questions. I ask him a few questions and then he's like, shut up, I'm not answering anything else. Yeah, you remember him. He's my awesome, like, hitchhiker bum, sociopath, pyromaniac priest. I wanted to ask about the region and its history. See, now I've rested since the last time I talked to him, so he'll answer a few more questions, and then he gets sick of answering questions, and he tells me to shut up. What is the God Hammer?
Gods have taken flesh, in all respects, taking willing and unwilling vessels. It's not a violation, it's what gods do, as long as they accept all that comes with it. Men are weak. Gods? Well, we showed old Icewind that he was flesh and blood, no matter how much light was pouring out of his farmer's hands. Took men of faith to build a weapon, a god hammer. Judgment. Proved him dead at Halgot Citadel.
Yeah, exactly. This is the guy who, like, literally clutches his staff. I mean, he has a lot of dialogue. He has a lot more dialogue than anyone else in my party. Because I haven't even exhausted all of his dialogue yet. And I've gone through a ton of dialogue with this dude. And, like, he's constantly, like, gripping his staff tightly. Like, he uses that emote way too often. It was a weapon of Darewood's people, their independence. There are few that would deny that Aothas overstepped. The Godhammer reminded Aothas of this. A fire and force so terrifying, so bright, it burned a god away. That sounds pretty intense. And he was one of the 12 that helped make it. Durance holds his staff. Now this time he's only holding it, he's not gripping it tightly. This is new. This is new for him. Maybe he's trying to turn over a new leaf. Be a little more relaxed. Durance holds his staff and his hands lock around. Well, they're locking. Tracing the etchings. As you watch, the top of the staff blossoms, burns brightly, and Durance speaks, his face illuminated in the fire. A weapon that would burn brighter than Aothas, and we led him to it and burned him at the stake. The stake was the Godhammer, and we impaled him on it. You said you fashioned it? Durance nods. Wasn't easy shaping it, crafting it, the pieces, the curve of the relic. Even then, it was a massive thing, something that required a god to come to it rather than be cast at him. Though, luring him to it, that was the easy part. Gods are prideful. What happened? We led him to fields, ones that he remembered as a farmer, perhaps. The fields right outside Halgot Citadel. Durance frowns. Now, Godhammer Citadel. That's a pretty cool name for a citadel, as citadel names go. It was right across the Avandur Bridge. An easy trek, Durance frowns. Men died, then more died, luring Aethys into Avandare. We had carved veins and paths through the bridge, excavated the foundations, filled them with powder and ember-hungry grains. Ember-hungry grains. Okay. Eager to burn. Our hands had even pried the mortar and rock loose, sharpened them to points so they might be rent from their foundations easier, and tear through the flesh of that pretender. And so you used Avandur against Aethys.
We poured the God Hammer into its foundations with faith. Set it alight. Let the hammer fall, upwards onto the anvil. 8 died before the God Hammer fell. And the God Hammer claimed the remainder. 12 in all.
And he was one of those dozen. And Aethys went back to the ether, or the grave. Durance grunts. He's lost his voice and his love of war, I'll tell you that much. He sneers. It took only taunts by men, and that was enough to lure him across the bridge and right into the new sun. Durance straightens his back, draws a deep breath. It let Raid Sarah see how bright their arrogance had become, and become a symbol by which we answered their purge with one of our own. Purges?
We started saving the Aethasians from themselves, burning any that didn't die with their god. Heresy in Raed Ceres is one thing. Heresy here in the Deerwood comes with a more personal touch.
This guy's a psycho. Durance becomes grimmer, his face setting. So, you just answered their crimes with one of your own?
As I see it, every Aethasian who still lives in the Deerwood puts the nation at risk. Is another dagger held to the throat of our faith. Root them out, burn them, or send them back to Raed Ceres to wallow in the blood of their failure.
You do know that our clever fighter here, standing, right here, is an Aethasian, right? Like, you're aware that he lives here in the Deerwood and he is a follower of that god, and you're saying this shit right in front of him. I don't think he's going to be amused. Maybe by this point, Adair has just learned to tune out Durance when he's speaking and just, not pay attention to what he's saying. Probably everybody in the group is doing that except for me. I wanted to ask about the region and its history. Durance grunts. Tell me about the Saints' War. Durance's eyebrows draw together in a frown, then he grunts. Keep forgetting your feet are new to the Deerwood. The Saints' War. Hobo guy don't care. Yeah, Hobo guy's serious business.
Wasn't a war. It was a god stepping past himself. The country of Raed Ceres and all their heathens.
They're
They're
heathens.
paying for it now. Although by my count, the fire should have roared through their country with more force, catching all their souls. Truth, it wasn't even a war. It was a cautionary tale about pride. Specifically, Widewind's pride. He should have stayed a farmer.
Well, obviously he should have, because you guys blew him up with a god hammer, so that's... didn't work out well for him, the whole I'm gonna become a god thing. What happened? Was, 15, 16 years ago? 2807? Durance pauses, then shakes his head and shrugs. Man, this is a really long time for him to have not gripped his staff tightly. I don't know what's going on. My memories are back with a younger me. I don't hold on to dates, I hold on to actions and causes. The war was an act of arrogance, born straight from Raed Ceres' twitching legs. A man thinking himself more than a man. Durant snorts. Want to kill someone? Tell him a god speaks through him. Then tell him he means him to lead, which puts him at the front of any army. And the army was as strong as you'd expect for Ceres, as sick as that country was. To begin with, hurt his hands in previous gripping. Yeah, his hands are sore. Yet a war was likely just what they needed. What was wrong with the country? Ceres had its share of troubles. It deserves all of them. It deserved Icewind. He was the light that led them to flame. Ceres was in decline. Ether poison already eating its veins. Economic bleeding, the dying of their faith. Durance frowns. Then Icewind, this farmer, claims to take up Aethys in the flesh and gives him the worst kind of hope. What happened then? They crown him. Durance taps his head, making a slight bow, and when his face turns back to you, he's wearing a feral smile. They make him king, the worst kind of blasphemy. And once he wears the crown on his head, and the god in his flesh, why, he starts making changes. Divine changes. Durance's eyes blaze. Then he decides he's going to change us. Save us. How? He marches on the Deerwood to free us from our beliefs like he freed the other souls in Red Ceres. Cold Morn offers up its belly with no resistance, and it's spared. Durance snarls. The bloodshed starts when he sacks Mercy Vale. A touch of irony that puts it to the flame. Cold Morn? Durance spits, snarls. Cowards, and Cold Morn is an apt name for them. They lie still, frozen, while their fellows burned. They'll pay Magran's price one day for such cowardice. Magran's price is not a price you want to pay. It pretty much involves getting the shit burned out of you. What did Aethys do next? Aethys keeps marching. Deerwood takes to the trees, cutting at his flanks, his scouts, his troops. It seemed near hopeless. Durance's face becomes grim, then smiles slightly. Until Halgut Citadel, the God Hammer. There, we put him to the flame, burn the god out of him, if there ever was one to begin with. Dozen brave men and women take to the bridge, make us stand. Then we torched him, there, with the fire of the God Hammer. Alright, we already know about the God Hammer. I wanted to ask about the region and its history. Again, Durance grunts. I'm surprised. At this point, he usually says some shit like, blah, 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 you're annoying with these questions, shut the fuck up. Do you know anything about the Deerwood and the surrounding nations? Well, yeah, of course he knows stuff about it. He's fucking from here. It's kind of a dumb question is all I'm saying. Hold on. Just need to put a little water in me here. Hold on a second. I like his character though. He's really interesting. He's crazy. Deerwood's the best of them. Still has spirit, if a land can have one. It's a place where a man can walk freely, even make new roads, and that's a rare thing in this world. Its generations, however, are damned, so no new footfalls may spell an end to it. Do you mean the Hollowborn? Yes. Aethys' last stabbed revenge after he was ended. Durance frowns. See, I don't think that's actually true. People think this is true, but from everything I've heard and read so far, I don't think that's true at all. Aethys was the god of rebirth, and his light does not fall on the Deerwood. I've heard some claim it's his doing, his death. It's closed the halls to new souls. He scoffs. I don't believe it. The problem is closer than that, and as always, it involves women and men, and they are always circling, within and without. So he basically agrees with me. The Valian Republics, Red Ceres, the Saints' War, one big bladed spiral, shredding everything around it. Why you gotta bring my homeland into it, bro? We're fucking medieval Italy / Spain. Don't fuck with us. Or I mean Renaissance Italy / Spain / the Roman Empire. A lot of stuff kind of mashed together into the Valiant, but still. Don't talk shit. Crazy wood man. How do you feel about the Valian Republics? Oh yeah, I get dialogue options because I'm from there. What? Durant snorts. Fortune seekers garbed in robes of office. Manipulators. Traitors and traitors all. Well, that's not very nice, sir. So I can be really snippy about it, or I can be sort of less snippy, but a little bit like passive-aggressive about it. Well, I'm going with the slightly less hostile version, because that fits my character concept more. I'm from the Republic. Is that a problem? Couldn't stand to remain. Don't blame you. Alright, well played, sir. Well played. He glares at you with a half smile, which fades. You look more humble than most. Any country so obsessed with style might as well be wearing scarves over their eyes. You think the Republics mean the dear wood harm? I mean, I don't even know what kind of accent I'm trying to do with my character. I'm just doing something vaguely Italian-ish and vaguely Spanish-ish, and it's really inconsistent. Like, my character does not sound the same all the time, because I really am bad at accents, so I just kind of do something vaguely exotic sounding, I guess. And it sort of runs the gamut between sounding like different nationalities, I think. But sometimes I probably sound kind of like Severin, yeah. The Deerwood had best be vigilant, or they'll turn them into slaves as soon as ink dries on the trade treaty. The Deerwood and all its internal riches is too tempting. Durance's voice drops. Especially if someone else tames the country and the face painters for them. Ah, he must be talking about the Glanfathans. Face painters? Durance waves his hand dismissively. Tribes! Glanfathans! Cluster around the ruins like flies. Yeah, I've actually had some experience with that. They kind of killed off my entire caravan that I was with and tried to kill me. In fact, they didn't just try to kill me. They actually did kill me once. I had to reload my game. So they're pretty vicious. Yeah, I have an elf mage. My elf mage now has a cool hat too. What about Red Ceres? Durance's face flushes, and a sheen of sweat forms on his brow. This is the longest he's ever gone without tightly gripping his staff. I think it's getting to him. The sheer effort of not tightly gripping his staff is like cracking him up. Too many adjectives to that so-called nation. Civil unrest, economic collapse, all tinder, just needing the right spark. Some farmer shows up, takes a god into himself, then takes a crown on his head. I would take a god into myself if I had the choice, I'm just saying. This divine kingdom he tries to set up goes about as well as you'd expect. A trickle of sweat runs down the side of Durance's cheek and sinks into his beard. Suddenly the population of heretics goes up by about half, and again, and Aethus starts turning his blood-stained gaze to every blasphemer he can find. Cleaning house is one way to put it. His face darkens, and his eye narrow? He has two eyes. Maybe it's just talking about his one crazy eye. Purge is another. Put them and their god in their place, though, with enough force to kill that damned country, too. Not a supporter of the country of Raid Seras? Hey, Aleph jumps in. He heard you guys talking about him. And he has some shit to say. Aleph passes by casually, muttering under his breath. Surely you know where this is going by now. It's not a country. It's a gathering of cowards. Edder puppets. They used to be an optimistic bunch, a bright bunch. Durrance laughs at Bright, as if a private joke was their undoing. Should have embraced their misery without letting a farmer lead them to a brighter ruin. Almost Aethys puppets, too, put an end to that. They dangled on his strings, Icewind dangled on theirs. They would never have had any success on the battlefield had not their god come down. The Saints' War. Durrance snarls. Needed to call on their god to have a chance. I wanted to ask about the region and its history a little bit more. There we go. Now he's pissed. Now he doesn't want to talk anymore. Keep troubling me and I may extend the tithe bowl for each question. Enough questions for now. Let the road keep us until the next campfire. Alright. So you ask him enough questions, eventually he tells you to shut up. So, yeah, I got Aloth, and look, he's got a pretty spiffy little hat here now. You like his little, incredible hat? Oh, Aloth. He probably doesn't have anything new to say. Looks at you with quiet attentiveness. How may I be of service? Yeah, isn't that hat great? But see, he doesn't have anything new to say. I've already had these conversations with him. See, like, Aloth seems to have, like, the smallest amount of dialogue so far. Kana had a fair amount of dialogue. He's the Amawa, which are like basically these giant kind of like shark people. But he had quite a bit of dialogue. I went through all of his though. And Adair is my farm boy turned warrior guy. And he had some dialogue, more than Aloth, but probably less than Kana and way less than Durrance. I mean, Durrance has a stupid amount of dialogue. Because I've gone through several very long conversations with him, and he still has stuff I haven't talked to him about.
Well?
And this character I hired at the inn, I made this character myself, so she has no dialogue. And this is my main character. Is he still crazy? He looks happy. Who looks happy? Oh, you're talking about Kana? Yeah, he's always grinning and shit. Like, he's a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. He's the chanter, which is kind of like a bard.
Yes.
On your word. Yes, my friend?
Oh my god, this is new. I can say, do you know anything about this place? And when I said it before, he told me about the place where I met him. But now I'm on a new map, and I say, do you know anything about this place? And he's telling me something new about this place. Holy shit. That's awesome. Kana means chicken in Finnish, is that right? G-gamer? G-gamer. Chicken in Finnish, huh? That's awesome. I know it has a meaning in Japanese too, but I don't remember what it is. Alright, Steph, you have to run, but you'll be back later. Alright, take it easy, have fun, or do what you need to do. I don't know if it'll be fun or not, but take care. We'll see you later. Thanks for coming by. Actually, it is time to end an episode and start a new one. So, stream will continue right away. Just need to start a new recording. So, this is the end of this episode. This has been Josiah Plays Pillars of Eternity.